Welcome to episode 153 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast, powered by Revelocity Sports. I'm your host, Jeremy Nizer. Today we are digging into a topic that I have never tackled, but it seems logical if you're talking about revenue generation for teams, and that is selling your merchandise on Amazon. Amazon is the largest e-commerce store and has at one point more than 10% of all online sales are going through it at any point. So absolutely it makes like an obvious lever: more traffic, more exposure, more opportunity to make some sales. But before you jump headfirst into Amazon, there are some pros and there are some cons, and I'm going to break down both of which: the hidden cost, the real cost, the gotchas. Can you connect Shopify to it? What Semantic SEO is. Like, this episode is really packed with a lot of information for you if you're even thinking about this, selling your merchandise on Amazon, or you've never thought of it and you were like, by golly, that's a great idea. So I'm going to break everything down in chunks that you can kind of take back, with links to opportunities where you can kind of learn a little bit more about specific topics. There's a lot covered in this episode. So if you have even thought about selling on Amazon, but you have no idea where to start, I feel like this is a great starter episode just for you. So let's get going. Let's start at the most logical spot here. Why is Amazon so attractive of a place where we can sell our merchandise? Real advantages here. Amazon is a search engine, kind of like Google's a search engine. Amazon's actually the same thing. Shopify, if you use Shopify or any of those platforms to be able to sell merchandise, that's kind of like where you're sending people and they can click to buy and what have you. It's not necessarily a search engine. When you go to Amazon, think about how you do your searches. You might type in basketball hoodie or basketball uniform or Lakers jersey or Vermont shirt or Birmingham sweatshirt, like those types of things. That's what typically happens inside of Amazon. They don't always search the team name. And in fact, I'm going to cover the SEO side of this in a little bit, but Amazon at a high level can introduce your brand to people who didn't even know you existed. That, my friends, is an acquisition power play. Absolutely. So the friction is really low here. Amazon converts because they've removed all the friction. It's literally 2 clicks and whatever you just ordered shows up your front porch the very next day. They've got saved credit cards, saved addresses, Prime. Everyone trusts Prime, and easy returns, right? So if you really think conversion matters, and it does, Amazon clearly wins. Can it add incremental revenue? So if you're doing, let's just say 300,000, 330,000 on Shopify and your merchandise store that people can walk up and buy, and then you're doing online, like, can it actually add $75,000, $125,000 additionally annually for you? Absolutely. And I'm not just trying to share hyperbole here, because I really honestly think that it can, under a few parameters and how you set things up. The holiday season. How many people shop on Amazon during the holiday season in December, Black Friday, November? Like, tremendous amounts, thousands, hundreds, millions of people are buying things on Amazon to get it shipped to their house so they don't have to go out to the malls and they don't have to go out local shopping to buy those things, right? Gift buyers, out of town folks who are buying things, absolutely. Prime Day, like, they've got the infrastructure to create so much momentum for a retailer who wants to be selling their items online. Makes sense. And the revenue is not necessarily the same, though. And this is the piece where I think warrants a lot of conversation and a lot of consideration. There are real costs to selling on Amazon, some real costs. Amazon's going to take a cut. They got to get paid, right? We get it. There's two ways to do this. There's fulfillment by merchandise, FBM, fulfillment by merchandise, or FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. So there's two ways to do this. You can sell the items on Amazon, you get the order, you fulfill it. Fulfillment by Amazon is you box up a bunch of shirts and you ship it to an Amazon place, and it's inside of some sort of storage facility, and their employees, when an order comes in, fulfills it and sends it off. Amazon will still charge referral fees on both of these. The fulfillment by Amazon is going to be higher. So let's break everything down. There's this place called Seller Central, which is if you're planning on selling on Amazon, that is the first place that you have to set up. And I'll put a link in the show notes so you can get there and sign up. There is a process, just like anything else. You have to fill out kind of the forms that they've got online. But Seller Central is the main spot. That's where you can list all of your items that get published to Amazon. So let's do some math. Let's just say you're selling a $50 hoodie. 15% referral fee, which is totally normal and average that they would charge. So that's $7.50. And then you have to pack it up and ship it. So let's just say shipping $6 and then packing it and sending it off is $2, right? Just for simple math here. You are $15.50 before the actual cost of the item. And let's just say that hoodie cost you $18. We're just making simple math here. You're sitting at $50 and then you take away $7.50, which is Amazon's referral fee, and then the $18 for the cost, $2 for someone to kind of put it together, $6 to ship it, right? So your gross profit is $16.50. That's 33% margin. What's your Shopify margin? It's probably 50%, 65%, significantly larger. So you are going to give up some of your margin, 15% on average, if you sell on Amazon. So 15%, just think about that. So however you're charging different things. The other con here, and it may be a pro, maybe a con, but I'm going to fall into the con bucket here, is when they go to your store on Shopify. When someone buys through you, you get to email, you get to market them, you get to retarget them, you could even text message them, you could put them in all of your marketing, you could do so much stuff for them, to them, right? On Amazon, you fulfill the order, Amazon controls the relationship. They are keeping all of that first-party data. You cannot freely market to these buyers. You cannot drop them into your email automation. You cannot send them an email that says, hey, opening day's coming, buy tickets now. You can't do that because for you, Amazon is owning all of that first-party data. For you, selling it through Shopify, you're owning it. So are you willing to give up 15% and not having the contact names of the people to move more merchandise? That's a question I'd ask you. And that's a question you probably have to ask yourself. Because for sports teams, lifetime value is a big thing. If someone goes on and buys a hat from you and they're local, and then you put them into your email sequences in your Constant Contact or MailChimp and you're marketing to them, and then they buy tickets and they're coming out the games and they're buying food and they're buying more merchandise, right? That lifetime value has grown and you controlled it. On Amazon, they control it. They got it all. You just get the order and your slice of the pie from the revenue side of things. Let's talk about cannibalization for a moment here too. And this is where teams don't think about this strategically. If your fans shift from Shopify to Amazon, you're going to lose margin, you're going to lose data, you're going to have to pay a commission, you're going to lose that upsell opportunity. That's not real growth. That's like leakage. That's like holes in your bucket problems here. So I would absolutely choose both, not one or the other. I wouldn't tell your fans now that you're on Amazon. I would let Amazon do what Amazon does. Once you get your product set up and you're selling things on Amazon, let them do the work to help you move products on Amazon. But I wouldn't actively go tell people, hey, we're now on Amazon, because what will happen is you immediately give up 15%. You immediately, right off the top, are giving up 15%. Sure, it may make it easier just to ship everything to Amazon and let them deal with it. I get it, right? But you want to keep the first party data in-house so that you can upsell things later, right? So, do you think if you shared fans that you are now on Amazon, will they jump from Shopify to Amazon? Absolutely, because Amazon to them is so much easier, and it's such a behemoth that it would absolutely cut into some things. So I wouldn't tell your fans that you're on Amazon. I would just let fans find it organically. You're going to lose some fans. That's bound to happen, of some people that are buying merchandise from you, but you're going to get some real momentum on Amazon with people that are not in your community that are buying merchandise. All right. This is the next piece here about momentum and the search reality. Remember how I led off this podcast by saying Amazon is a search platform, kind of like Google, right? Search demand inside of Amazon is going to be a real interesting thing that teams have never thought of. Most teams don't think about search engine optimization, SEO, inside of their team store, in their marketing, in anything that they do. They're not thinking about, I got to rank number one in Google for this because of this reason for more traffic or what have you. You're not going, like, teams just don't think that way. We've never thought that way. We said, hey, we want to get attention. We want people to go over to our website, and we want people to buy our tickets and merchandise. Like, we getting people to our games, and we put together a great experience. Like, that's how we think as marketing directors. We don't think about SEO because it has never been something that warrants our attention. But when you get into Amazon, you are going to be drinking out of the fire hose, the SEO fire hose. There are so many rabbit holes with SEO, semantic SEO, on-page SEO, off-page SEO. There is so much to think about from an SEO perspective. So I'm going to ask you, because this is an enormous rabbit hole that you're about to go down if you want to go down to sell on Amazon. Sure, you can connect Shopify to Amazon, but you're going to be having to tweak your pages to make sure that you're ranking for specific key terms. When you're ranking for specific key terms, you get shown up higher on the Amazon searches versus others. So that is a huge thing to think about when you're doing this. The other side of this too is that the search terms for your team are going to be very, very, very low in Amazon. Are they going to type in on Amazon Birmingham Barons shirt? Probably not, because they went to Google and typed that in. But would they be typing in Birmingham sweatshirt or Vermont visor? They might be typing those types of keywords in to Amazon to find what they are looking for. So more broad match keywords versus exact match keywords. And that's where I'm going with this here. I just introduced two SEO terms right then and there for you. Like, broad match is Vermont sweatshirt. Like, it's very broad. Vermont Lake Monsters sweatshirt, exact match. Like, there's some differences there, right? So the demand that lives inside of Amazon is oftentimes broader match. So in this case, I'd say Albuquerque t-shirt instead of Albuquerque Isotopes t-shirt. Another broad match opportunity would be Birmingham baseball shirt versus Birmingham Barons shirt. Another one would be Vermont gift for baseball fan. That's a search term that we have done in the past on Google that fans do inside of Amazon. New England baseball apparel, those broad match keywords, that's where Amazon's really good with. So part of this is also thinking through how you're doing your searches on Amazon for the things that you're buying. So I hope that makes sense. But one of the big takeaways here is, as you're getting started with Amazon, I would start with city forward or state forward apparel to get traction more than your team branded items. Now, there might be some nuances here. So Vermont Lake Monsters. Lake Monsters is a tourist type attraction. Absolutely, people are searching Vermont Lake Monsters in Google and in Amazon, trying to see books or what have you, right? Because it's a touristy type keyword. It is a little bit exact match because that's the name of the team, but it's a touristy type keyword. But Charleston River Dogs, that right there, there is no river dogs are just dogs in the community. Like, there's not a tourist attraction to river dogs, at least that I don't know of. So I think that's the second side of this too, that you're really going to have to take two steps back and think about your team name and as it relates to the community, as it relates to the apparel and what people are searching. I'm going to put some links in the show notes that will give you opportunities to go and use a couple different tools to search your team name, your branded organization, to see, hey, are people actually searching these keywords on Amazon? I'm going to put a couple links in there. They're going to be some dollar. You're going to spend $50, $100 to be able to get this research, but it gives you so much great starting point as you set up your store on Amazon for you to be able to sell more merchandise, right? But I would 100% start with more city forward, state forward apparel just to get some momentum. So starting with those city-based designs, state pride apparel, those types of things, and more of a broader baseball identity or a hockey identity, like, that's going to build velocity. That's going to get you some reviews early on some of your items and getting you ranking higher. That's when, after you kind of get those things started first, then you're going to do your more team branded stuff, because then Amazon's going to reward you with click-through rates, higher conversion rates, and even more sales velocity. So one important point that I'm pointing out here is, without velocity, you're not getting any visibility. Without any visibility, no sales. So if you're on the second page on Amazon for specific keywords, like, you're just not going to make any sales. Like, pretty simple there. So this piece is really important here, and I'm going to do to take away just for this piece here. Start with your city-based designs, your state pride apparel, and broader sport identity gear. So that's what I would start with. I touched on SEO side of in this kind of the last segment here. I want to go a little bit deeper on a thing called semantic SEO. Semantic SEO is pretty interesting here. Amazon is really keyword driven. So if you were typing in Isotopes hat, you're selling a Albuquerque baseball hat, you're selling maybe a brown baseball cap, you're selling a minor league baseball gift, you're selling a retro baseball apparel, you're selling a lot of different things here. Semantics SEO, let me give this to you in another simpler term. Think about barbecue gloves. Barbecue could be spelled out like barbecue, actually spelled out, or it could be BARBQ gloves. So it's two different things. Another example is a trash can and a garbage can. It's the same thing, but it's called two different things. That is called semantic SEO. And that right there tells you that, like, your listings need to show up for multiple things as you're getting them prepared. So you've got to have an optimized title, key-rich bullet points, backfilled keyword fields, proper category selection, multiple images, Amazon's going to rank you on relevance and performance. So your traffic from Shopify comes from your email, your ads, your social, right? Typically, your Shopify traffic comes from the work that you're doing. Amazon's traffic comes from search intent. If I'm typing in garbage can inside of Amazon, it's going to show me trash cans, trash pails, garbage pails. It's going to show me a whole lot of different things. That is called semantic SEO. And that's the piece here about SEO that you're really going to have to think through as you're putting your content on Amazon to sell, because there are so many other avenues and directions that people are going to get to your merchandise, because it's all about search on Amazon. And on your Shopify store, it's the momentum that you're creating. You're sending out emails, posting on social media, and what have you. Can you connect Shopify to Amazon? Operationally, yes, you can connect your Shopify store to Amazon. Inside of Shopify, they have this connector app called Marketplace Connect. It allows inventory syncing, order syncing, centralized management. I will link the official Shopify Marketplace Connect in the show notes here, so you can see exactly how it works. So if you're serious about selling on Amazon, you're going to need to review Amazon Seller University, the official kind of getting started and fulfilled by merchant requirements, because you're going to be fulfilling it, not sending it off to Amazon to let them do. This is not just a wing it type thing. Setting up Shopify was like a learning curve for teams. Like, this is going to be an off-season project for a lot of teams, because it's going to take some time just to kind of get things set up, because you're learning something that you have never learned before. Number one, how Amazon works as a search platform and how you're posting things to it to sell. Number two, you're going to have to learn about the SEO side of things and what items we're going to start with and how we're going to create some momentum. Because remember, Amazon, you and me, we look at reviews on items. We got to get reviews. How do we do that, right? One thing I would caution you on is don't move your entire catalog over there at once, right? Move on over evergreen items, giftable items, the broad market products that are like city-based, state-based, those types of things. Keep Shopify for your limited items, even your player-related things. If you're selling bobbleheads on there, premium collections, any of those types of things, right? Kind of protect what's living in your Shopify store and what's living on Amazon. Align the pricing. If Amazon undercuts Shopify, you will train your fans to leave your ecosystem. Match the pricing or charge more on Amazon. That's what I would tell you. Model the margin before you list things out. Inside of Amazon Seller Central, and there are other tools, and I'll put a link in the show notes that tells you exactly what your profit will be. So that'll give you a really good idea of what you should be pricing your item for, so that you're getting a profit and you're not literally cutting off your nose to make a profit here, right? So I would use some of these tools to understand what you're getting into first, right? And then the second piece, and I mentioned this already, but I would say that you should probably charge a little bit more on Amazon, simply because they're taking 15% right off the top, right? Treat Amazon as an acquisition strategy here. There are really 3 levels of growth here to increase your order average value, increase repeat purchase rate, so getting people to buy more, or go get new customers. So that's the only way you're going to sell more merchandise. You're selling more to people. You're going to sell more at the purchase. So instead of buying $35, they buy $50. So you're trying to increase that order value. You're trying to get people to buy multiple items multiple times during the year, or you just go out and find new customers. Those are the only 3 ways you can sell more merchandise. Amazon 100% will help you with new customer acquisition. Your Shopify fuel, all the things that you're doing in Shopify, that fuels number 1, your average order value and your repeat purchase rate. If Amazon is cutting into your average order values on Shopify, or they're cutting into your repeat purchases, then you're trading long-term value for short-term revenue. So there's definitely some good and bad here. Holy moly, there's a lot to take in. Amazon is such an amazing platform for you to be able to sell merchandise on. It's not good and it's not bad. It's great for a lot of things. It's hard and rough and bumpy for others. It's a tool. The wrong way to approach it is emotionally. I need to sell XYZ on Amazon to do what have you, right? Like, that's not how you should be thinking about it. You should be thinking about it as Amazon is a strategic channel that allows me to get my merchandise in front of more people and I can move more merchandise, right? Can Amazon help us acquire new customers without weakening the relationship that we've built on Shopify? If the answer is yes, the margin that you've kind of figured out and the cannibalization can be controlled, but you just need to figure out what you're selling on one platform, what you're selling on other, what your price points on one are, what your price points on the other are, all of those things, right? You need to 100% protect what you have already built on your merchandise with Shopify and all of the processes that you have. If you are considering selling on Amazon and you want to have a deeper conversation, like, I am 100% happy to hop on a call and help you kind of talk through this and what this would all look like. I'm going to put a boatload of links in the show notes for you to be able to kind of click through and learn. But this is such a unique idea for teams that I haven't seen teams tackle yet. Not even at the major league level. Some of the teams that are selling millions and millions of dollars of merchandise have not decided they wanted to do this because they feel like it would cannibalize them. But if you're the only team in a community and you know that you're going to be able to create Semantic, this is such a marvelous branding opportunity for you. But there are some trade-offs, some pros and some cons. But like I said, if you're interested in having a deeper conversation about selling on Amazon, feel free to head on over to sportsmarketingmachine.com, schedule a call, happy to chat through it with you to really unpack if this totally makes sense for you or not. If you found this episode helpful, feel free to share it with someone who's just like you, someone who's working in sports trying to sell more tickets, sell more merchandise, and grow their fan base. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to you next time.